In your basket, you're going to have two different sized brushes. Okay, one of them is a flat brush that we've been using, and the other one is our smallest detailed round brush. Unless I tell you otherwise, we're going to use the flat brush. Okay, so put the other one away for now, just the flat brush, unless I tell you. Okay, zoom back out so you can see everything I'm doing. All right, the first one we're going to do is a wash technique. We're going to use a flat brush so we can cover a larger area. Typically, it's a thin layer of paint, just like we did on our other poster board the other day. It can be done with one or multiple colors. I prefer to do it with just one color, because really the intent of it is that when you go to start painting your real project, you're not going to have white showing behind it because you already have color on your canvas. The color you choose does not matter, but you're going to go ahead and take whatever that color is, and you're going to put a little bit of that paint onto your plate. A little bit of whatever color you chose on your plate. Does not need to be a lot because we only have a small area to paint. Now, I already have a little bit of paint on my brush because I just put it on my plate, but I'm going to get just a little bit more. Remember, you never want a lot at one time. I'm actually going to start by dipping it into the water because I want to thin this paint out for the wash. Remember, thin layers. Eyes are on the screen. And I'm going to start by applying that paint and getting more water to blend it out. You want a very thin layer. Notice I didn't have to grab any more paint. All I'm grabbing is the water and blending it out in a wash. Go ahead and do that. Okay, this next one is going to be a dry brush, so really make sure that brush is dry. We don't want to have any water on it. Now, I'm going to use the same color that is already on my plate, so I don't have to get any more. This technique is used for adding texture to whatever it is you're painting. So usually, there's already paint on your paper for the object. Now, for the sake of time today, we don't have anything painted. We're just going to do it right on the paper. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of paint onto the tip of my brush. So it's hard to see because I have an orange brush, but orange paint, a little bit on the tip. Now, we don't want a lot of paint, so I'm actually going to wipe off a little bit of the paint, not all of it. Watch me first. Eyes are on the screen. And then I'm going to lightly drag that brush over my paper. Now, if you do this overlapping like this, this would make really great texture for wood, for something bumpy. Okay, you can get more, dry it off again until you've covered the area you want to cover with it. Notice that it's kind of see-through. It's not solid. Okay, go ahead and try. Okay, while you finish that up real quick, the next one is going to be radiating. We're still using that flat brush. Think of this as like you're drawing like a sunset, okay, and you want to make it go from one color to the next. We're going to use analogous colors anytime we're trying to blend colors or make them go in order, okay? That's what's going to make them blend really nicely together and not make a yucky color in between. So, choose your analogous colors. It does not... Actually, let's do it all the same. Let's grab orange, yellow, and white. You know, a little bit of each of those. Orange, yellow, and white. Do not mix them, but put them in separate little piles on your plate. Orange, yellow, white. All right, you do not need to have it, but I drew a circle so that way you could see what I was doing. Okay, we're going to be making kind of like a sun that is the rays are shining, okay, but blending. So, here's my circle. I'm going to start with my white, and I'm going to start by painting a circle with the white. So I'm painting my white circle. Then I'm going to grab, while the white is still wet, and I'm not washing my brush, Brecken, your eyes should be on the screen, I'm going to grab the yellow, and I'm going to go around the outer edge of that white circle, and I'm going to carefully go through and blend that yellow into the white. It should be a slow change. Then I'm going to make sure I have enough yellow on the outside of that. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of orange and do the same thing, this time on the outside of the yellow. If you find that it is dried, grab a little bit more yellow and blend it with the orange. It should be a slow, gradual change, just like our value scales the other day. Go ahead and do this. Choosing 3 analogous colors and putting them on your plate. This is going to be an impressionism. Now, this is not really the name of the technique. It's kind of what I call it. Basically, we're going to be making like dots or paint marks using specific colors to give the impression that we're painting something. Okay, this one can be really good for trying to like do like texture in a bush, or maybe like water, but it has lots of different colors in it. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I have those 3 colors and white. It does not matter which color you start with. I'm going to use my green, and I'm just going to kind of make marks by pushing my paintbrush down with the flat side gently. Now, they're all going different directions. I can flip my brush different directions to use all the paint, grab a little bit of another color, and do the same thing. Now, whatever it is you're trying to make, you need to keep in mind that the darker colors are going to be where the shadows are supposed to appear. So I'm keeping it dark towards the bottom. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to grab a little bit of the white and start including some white marks towards the top where highlights would be. Okay, you're just kind of overlapping them to give the impression, and I'm going for a bush with mine. Okay, go ahead and do that. Okay, this next one, the technique says branches. However, this technique can be used for other things, but for practice today, we're going to do branches. Okay, most of the time, branches, people reach for their skinny brush to paint the skinny lines. However, I prefer to use my flat brush because I can make the wide lines or branches, and if I turn it this way, make the skinny lines. Okay. Now, for the sake of time today, we're not going to even worry about mixing a brown. It's going to be whatever color you already have on your paint palette. So I already have blue, so mine's are going to be blue branches. Make sure you're watching me first. I've put paint on my brush. I'm going to start by taking my paintbrush with the flat side, pushing it down gently to make it wider, and pull it out in my branch direction. Now, I may need to get more paint, but as you're pulling that out, I'm going to slowly start changing the direction of my paintbrush to the skinnier side. So now I've moved into a skinny branch. Load my brush again. Going to go from the side of here. Do it again. Start with the flat side, pushing it down gently, and then turning and getting skinnier for the skinnier part. So you're going to keep doing this until you've made a pretty full branch with other branches on it. Okay? Go ahead and do this. This next one is going to be called double load. You need 2 analogous colors. Doesn't matter which ones you choose. 2 analogous colors. Go ahead and put them on your plate. If you have enough, like I do, I already have enough yellow and green, so I'm just going to use those. Paul, look up here. Okay, really quickly, because we are going to run out of time. I'm going to start by putting a little bit of the yellow on one corner of my brush and a little bit of my green on the other color of my brush. Now, when you do this, you can make straight lines where it's one color on one side, different on the other. Or you can go through, you can make squiggle lines. Okay, whatever you want, just practice double load real quick. Listen for the next one. This next one is called outlining. Now, don't ever outline your project in black. Okay? Markers, colored pencils, paint. Don't ever do it. That's an elementary skill. We're not doing that anymore. Okay? We're always going for realistic looking items or paintings. Okay? So, this outlining technique, though, is still good to learn how to paint small details. And also, if you need a small, skinny shadow line, you can use a different color and still outline. Okay? So, eyes up here. The color you want is up to you. The only one you cannot use is black. So, I'm going with whatever's on my plate already. Now, these paint brushes have been used by you guys, students, so they're not the best cared for. Now, if your paintbrush isn't super skinny, here's how to fix it so you can still use it to paint small. I'm going to take my paint, and I have it on my brush. I'm going to gently rotate and spin it on the plate to make it get as skinny as possible. Get a little bit of that paint on my brush. I'm just going to outline a square, just for sake of practice quickly. Now, I'm not pushing any pressure. I'm lightly taking that brush over the top of the paper to make as skinny of a line as possible. I'm going to use, I switched to the other small paintbrush. Thank you. I'm just painting a square really quickly. Go ahead and do that. Remember you're trying. Back with the flat brush. You want almost the entire rainbow on your paint palette, your plate. So you should already have some of them, like I already have purple, green, and orange, so I just need to add the others. So make sure you have every color available to you on your plate. So, does not matter what color you start with, choose your favorite color and start with it. Okay? I'm going to start with my green. I'm going to start by painting a green spot. Without washing my brush, I'm going to grab yellow, because that's the next in line. Grab that yellow and blend it into the side of the green. Have a solid section of yellow. Then I'm going to grab the next color in line, orange, and paint a little bit of orange. Get as much as you can until I tell you to stop. You only have about